Welcome back, artistic ladies and gentlemen, to this week's Wizard Wednesday Challenge episode in this Pokémon TCG Online series. Every Wednesday I create a deck from scratch without any testing, then I take that deck into the Versus ladder, play 5 battles with it to see how well it performs, to see how many wins we can get out of those 5 battles. And today I'm going to be building and playing with a Togekiss Raikou deck. If you want to see me build this deck from scratch, then click the video annotation on the top right of the screen where I will guide you through my thought process in building this deck. If you just want to see the short version of the deck analysis or the battles, then stay on this video because we are going to dive right into the deck analysis right here. This is the final list I have come up with. Let's start off by analyzing the Togekiss Stage 2 with the Delta Evolution trait. You may play this card from your hands to evolve a Pokemon, which is going to be our Togetic. During your first turn or the turn you play that Togetic. Normally, when you play down a Togetic, you cannot evolve into a Togekiss in the same turn, but thanks to this Delta Evolution trait, we can do that, and then we can make use of our Serene Grace ability when we play this Pokemon from our hands to evolve one of our Pokemon. Again, this is going to be our Togetic. You may look at the top 8 cards of your deck, choose any basic energy cards you find there, and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle the other cards back into your deck. We are never going to be attacking with our Togekiss because Togekiss requires a fairy energy, and I only run basic lightning energies in this deck. 11 basic lightning energies, a pretty high count of lightning energies, just to make sure we can find some of these lightning energies when we try to make use of the Serene Grace ability from the Togekiss. The strategy with this deck is to evolve into our Togekiss as soon as we can, and then put the energies that we find from the Serene Grace onto our Raikou. For example, Raikou with a Thunderlance attack hits for 50 damage plus 20 more damage for each lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. Also has the Shining Body ability. If this Pokemon has any lightning energy attached to it, any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks is reduced by 20, basically giving our Raikou 140 HP. Also interesting to note is that the Raikou has a 1 retreat cost, which means it's pretty easy to retreat out of the active spot like our Togekiss. Togekiss also has a 1 retreat cost. Now we can also use the energies that we find from our Serene Grace ability to power up our Jolteon. Jolteon is going to be the sidekick of Raikou with the Flash Ray. If you're up against Night March, we are going to Flash Ray against the Night Marcher. Make sure our Jolteon cannot get damaged by my opponent Night Marchers. Same for other decks that rely on basic Pokemon. And we could also put them on our Ampharos-EX. Ampharos-EX with the Sparkling Tail attack hits for 100 damage for 4 energies, a DCE and 2 lightning energies. It isn't very good, or it doesn't look very good if you just compare the damage output with the energy cost, but what makes this attack actually pretty good, and what's also the reason why I included Ampharos-EX in this list, is the effect of the attack. This attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, resistance, or any other effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. If we are up against a Jolteon-EX ourselves, we can actually go through the Flash Ray from the Jolteon and hit the Jolteon with the Sparkling Tail. That is the main reason why Ampharos-EX is in this deck, also to face things like a Regice with the Resistance Blizzard, preventing any damage done to Regice by Pokemon EX, except for our Ampharos-EX, because Ampharos just hits right through that with the Sparkling Tail attack. And finally, we can attach our energies to our Lugia. Lugia is a basic colorless Pokemon. If your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, the intensifying burn attack does 120 damage total. If it is not, it does 60 damage total. And the pressure ability, reducing damage done to Lugia by 20. Lugia is going to be our attacker when we are up against a fighting deck, because Lugia has fighting resistance while our lightning Pokemon have fighting weakness. So if you're up against a fighting deck, we don't really want to attack with our lightning Pokemon. We want to lead with our Lugia and possibly come in with something like a Raikou to hit for a KO as soon as Lugia has damaged our opponent's fighting Pokemon with the intensifying burn attack. That is the strategy with this deck. We also have some tool cards, some techie cards, not tool cards, some tech cards to help us out here with our strategy. One of them is the Energy Recycler. If our Raikou goes down, we can energy recycle the energies that were attached, that is not an Energy Recycler, the energies that were attached to Raikou back into our deck, and then possibly Devolution Spray our Togekiss that we have on our bench, get it back into our hand and play it down immediately again because of the Delta Evolution trait, Serene Grace for the energies that we put back into our deck. That is the synergy between Devolution Spray, Togekiss, and Energy Recycler. Same goes for the Super Rod. Super Rod acts like the Energy Recycler, but can also be used to shuffle back our attackers and to shuffle back the Togekiss line if our opponent decides to Lysander it out. I do run one Lysander myself for similar reasons, to Lysander out my opponent's Shaymin, or to Lysander out things like a Regice before it can go with a Resistance Blizzard, or to Lysander out a Jolteon even. And then we have some draw supporters, two N for draw support, 4 Sycamores for draw support, in addition to our Shaymin, 2 Shaymin for draw support as well, and some Pokemon search cards, 3 Ultra Balls to search out our Shaymin, to search out our Raikou, and to search out our Togekiss, and some level balls to search for our Togepi. One of the main things we need to do in our first turn is look for a Togepi so that we can evolve into our Togetic in the next turn, and also into the Togekiss in that very same next turn. Moving on, we are going to take a look at the stadiums and the tool cards. The stadium of choice is Rough Seas, 2 Rough Seas to heal up some damage from our lightning Pokemon, and 3 Fighting Fury Belts because we run only basic Pokemon to attack with. So Fighting Fury Belt gives our Raikou 180 HP if we have a lightning energy attached to it, and if it was not attacked yet, gives Jolteon 200 HP and our Ampharos 210 HP. Pretty nice if we can attach those Fighting Fury Belts at the start of the game and keep them on our Pokemon, because that makes it tough for our opponent to knock them out. We have also got some more tech supporters. We have a Hexmaniac to deal with Greninja Break, to deal with Vespiquen, Vileplume, and Trevenant Break, because if we get item locked, we cannot use our Devolution Spray or our Energy Recycler. So that is again not our Energy Recycler. Here it is. So we want to Hexmaniac. If you are up against those decks, make sure we can use our Energy Recycler if we have it in our hands together with our Hexmaniac. And finally, one Teammates. Teammates is going to be the card we are going to use when our Raikou got knocked out. Then we can Teammates for something like a Devolution Spray, evolve our Togekiss, and at the same time also Teammates for an Energy Recycler, so that we can Energy Recycle the energies that were put into our discard pile back into our deck, much like I mentioned earlier. Much like the strategy I mentioned earlier. And that is about it for this deck analysis. That is how this deck is supposed to work. So now it is time for the weekly booster pack contest, where I give away 5 booster packs on the Pokémon TCG Online. This week is gonna be 5 BREAKpoint booster packs. What do you have to do to be eligible to win some of these booster packs? All you've got to do is comment down below and let the critic in yourself go crazy. I want to hear something that you would change about this list, something that you think I might have forgotten about, something that you think should be absolutely added to this list. Write it up in a nice comment. I will pick the 2 comments that I like the most. These 2 comments will be featured in the next Wizard Wednesday episode, where you ladies and gentlemen will get to vote on the comment that you like the most. The top comment will receive 3 BREAKpoint booster packs, and the runner-up will receive 2 BREAKpoint booster packs, which also means it is now time to vote for last Wizard Wednesday's booster pack contest. I have a comment here from Darren Green, who suggested to take out 1 Dimension Valley and 1 N and put in 2 Team Rocket's Handiwork, and also a comment from PHS Gameplays, who suggests to put in Team Rocket's Handiwork as well. And in addition to that, he says take out the Bridget, take out Battle Compressor, and add 1 Super Rod maybe. He doesn't seem entirely sure. So which one of these 2 comments do you think have the best suggestion? Which one comment do you like the most? Vote. On the right of the screen there is at the top a exclamation mark which you can click on. That will bring up a poll where you can click if you want to vote for Darren or for PHS. I will let them know who wins in a couple of days. If you've got any questions, just hit me up down below in the comments. Now it's time for me to go into the versus ladder and find some opponents. Our first opponent of the day is going to be I Am Vicious with, oh my goodness, a fighting deck straight away. My luck. Fighting deck straight away. Well, let's hope we can find our Lugia. As well as a Togepi to start off with. There's a Togepi and a Raikou. So we do start off with a Raikou. Not the best start for us here. Unless we are up against Garchomp, then we have a turn or 2 to go here, or a turn or 2 to set up, because my opponent needs to Rare Candy. At the very least, we start off first as well. It's a Golem deck. Well, let's attach to our Raikou. Let's take a look. Let's take a peek at our Trainer's Mail. Fighting Fury Belts and an N. I'm probably going to take the N here. Fighting Fury Belt is tempting, but for now this Lugia is in the active spot and the Golem needs lots of energies before it can attack us. Then I'll bench the Shaymin, draw into 2 more cards. Maybe we can find a Togetic for the next turn. We do find a Togetic for the next turn, so I'm going to keep this Togetic in my hand. I'm not going to end. I'm going to keep it at this and then end in the next turn. Hopefully we can then find an Ultra Ball from the end. There's a Protection Cube on the Golem. This Pokemon does 60 damage to itself, so it's definitely necessary. And a Max Elixir. Wow, maybe my opponent can power up this Golem in the first turn. It is actually possible. If my opponent can get another Max Elixir and another energy, this Golem can hit for 160 damage on our Raikou. And a strong energy right there. Does my opponent have the Max Elixir? Trainer's Mail. This is going to be an important Trainer's Mail. Very, very important. Startling Megaphone. Alright, luckily enough I didn't get out my Fighting Fury Belt. And a pass of the turn, so we do stay alive. Even if we went down, it wouldn't have been GG because we still had our Togekiss, so we could have powered up the Lugia that we top decked right here. Let's do I attach to my Lugia? I probably will attach to my Lugia. We will end. Lugia is going to be our go-to attacker. An energy and a Togekiss. We top deck the Togekiss from the end. Fantastic. That is just fantastic. So let's evolve into the Togekiss. Let's look for some energies. We even have the Devolution Spray to look for more energies if we can't find enough energies. I'm going to put 2 energies on a Raikou. And I'm going to let my opponent get a knockout on a Raikou. That's what I'm going to do. In the next turn, I can always shuffle back energies with the Energy Recycler. And then we can Devolution Spray to power up our Lugia EX. That is going to be my plan here. I'm not going to attach this Fighting Fury Belt because I know my opponent has the Startling Megaphone. So we will just hit for the knockout on this Hawlucha for 220 damage. We get a Jolteon-EX. Fantastic. This Jolteon can be a lifesaver as well. Can definitely be a lifesaver because my opponent is playing Golem. A Lysander on our Lugia is going to Lysander our Lugia. That is definitely dangerous because we have this Raikou ready to go here. We can one-hit KO the Golem. I think my opponent should have dealt with our Raikou since it's already nearly powered up. All we need is powered up for a one-hit KO. All we need is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 energies. So we need 4 more energies. We need to be a little bit lucky. We need to get 3 energies from the Togekiss. That's what we need. Ooh, and a Carbink with the safeguard. Now we also need to find our Hex Maniac to deal with the Carbink if we want to attack with our Jolteon. But most likely I'm not going to do that. This Golem EX cannot knock out our Lugia. We stay alive. Definitely stay alive. So I could actually just power up the Lugia here if I want to. I'm going to level ball for a Togepi. Grab my Togepi. Just so we can evolve into Togekiss once more later on without the use of a Devolution Spray. And here's the question, what do we do? I know the Lugia is going to go down, but I can at least hit for 120 damage. At least I can do that. So I'm going to Fighting Fury Belt my Raikou. And I will power up the Lugia. I'm not going to bench the Jolteon just yet. Let's Devolution Spray. Devolve our Togekiss. Evolve back into the Togekiss. Right here. Trying to find 1 more energy. That's all we need. And then maybe another energy for our... Oh, we only find 1 energy. And then maybe I was going to say another energy for our Raikou. And then it's time to bench the Jolteon. In the next turn, I'm going to Sycamore after I use my Energy Recycler. For now, we'll hit for the Intensifying Burn for 120 damage on this Golem EX. And in the next turn, that's going to give us 2 more prizes, bring ourselves down to 3 prizes. Ooh, a Carbink Break. A Carbink Break. So now the Jolteon can be damaged by the Carbink Break. That is my opponent's out to our Jolteon. Kinda regret benching the Jolteon now. I should have expected the Carbink Break. Another Carbink comes down. Can we maybe find a Super to shuffle back our Lugia? Via Seeker for Sycamore. Alright. I wouldn't have minded to see an N, but a Sycamore... Well, we have our own Sycamore, so it's not too bad that we didn't see an N. Max Elixir onto the Golem. I think my opponent is going to Diamond Gift onto the Golem here. in the next turn, get back those strong energies that we are going to discard Muscle Bands on the Golem and another Hawlucha. It's definitely not GG yet, but if we can Lysander the Shaymin, I think we have the game here. We just need to Lysander the Shaymin at some point. Let's promote our Raikou. Then let's shuffle back the energies from our Lugia with our energy recycler. Unfortunately, we top decked the Togekiss here, so we'll have to discard the Togekiss. That was a bad top deck, that one. Ooh, and a Super Ult, fantastic. I can Super Ult back the Togekiss and the Lugia. Do I want to do that right now? I probably will want to do that. I'm going to discard the N and a Togepi. Yes, we don't need another Togepi. I'm going to grab a Togetic. And maybe I will wait one turn here with the Super Ult. You never know, my Raikou might go down. And then we can shuffle back one more energy with the Super Ult. I will bench another Raikou. And I'm going to counter my opponent's Stadium. And then it's time to hit for the knockout here with our Raikou. Take 2 more prizes. What can we get from the prizes? Maybe we can find an energy from the prizes so we can attach from our hands an Ultra Ball and a VS Seeker. Ooh, we can Ultra Ball for our Togekiss after we use our Super Ult. That's actually really good, the Ultra Ball. We'll have to discard the Sycamore and whatever else we top deck. I don't mind discarding the VS Seeker either, because we still have 3 more VS Seekers somewhere. And there's an N, never mind, no Super Ult for us. Our opponent ends us. This Carving Break hits for 40 damage right now, times 2 is 80 damage we get. An Ampharos-EX and a Sycamore from the N. That is definitely good. I'm going to Sycamore in the next turn. Diamond Gift is going to power up. The Golem EX. We need to find a Lysander for a Shaymin. That's what we need to do. If we can find a Lysander for a Shaymin and just another Togekiss, we can take the game in the next turn. We get an energy. Let's put this on our Raikou because we hit for 110 damage against the Carving Break already. 120 actually, because of the Fighting Fury belt. So let's power up our Raikou. Then let's Sycamore our hand away, dig through our deck a little bit more. What do we find? Some energies, a Level Ball, and a Super Ult. Excellent. Now it's time to Super Ult. I am going to do it. I'm not going to wait any longer. Shuffle back the Togekiss. Then we'll take a look at our Trainer's Mail. What can we find from the Trainer's Mail? An Ultra Ball. Excellent. Excellent stuff here. Can we maybe also find a Lysander from the other Trainer's Mail? A VS Seeker. No need for a VS Seeker right now, so I will just let that VS Seeker sit in my deck. And I'm going to thin out my deck a little bit with this Level Ball. Get out Togepi. No need for the Togepi. And we'll also get out, we'll discard this energy and the Togepi, and we'll also get out the Togekiss. Maybe to power up actually the Jolteon, force my opponent to find another Carving Break if my opponent wants to deal with the Jolteon. I think that's actually the best play here. We will look for some more energies. Can we find some? Yes, 2 energies right there. Let's put them on our Jolteon. Let's spread out our energies a little bit. Now we have 2 attackers that we can go with in the next turn. The Jolteon being the main one because it only needs 1 energy, but we can also possibly power up this Raikou if we find a Devolution Spray. So we'll hit for the knockout with our Thunderlance. Maybe the Lysander is prized. I didn't really have a look whether or not it was in our deck, and it is prized. We did get it from the prizes. I had a feeling there. Wow, that's amazing. That is game. Unless we see another N, then it's going to be game. We are going to Lysander Shaymin and knock it out with our Jolteon. VS Seeker for a Lysander from our opponent himself is going to Lysander our Jolteon, I think. Yes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that my opponent Lysanders the Jolteon. Hits for a ton of damage there. 400 damage. 440 damage. That's incredible. That is a ton of damage from that Golem. But it doesn't matter in the end. We will take the game right here. We will Lysander Shaymin. And we even got a Devolution Spray, so we could have knocked out this Golem anyways. Actually, we didn't need to go for the Lysander. We were already hitting for 120 damage. So this is it. GG to my opponents. GG to my opponent for sure. What a nice match this was. I'm actually pretty surprised by that Golem deck. I like the idea of the Golem deck there with the Carving Break. Definitely a fun deck idea to play around with. We dealt 820 damage versus 720 for my opponent. Raikou MVP versus Golem EX. First win of the day here. First match, first win. Let's see if we can find another opponent and pull off another win with our Raikou Togekiss deck. The next opponent is going to be Yatsuki, and it's another fighting deck. What's up with all those fighting decks? My goodness, so many fighting decks. We start off first, so we have an advantage there. At the very least, we have that advantage. Can we win against another fighting deck? Wow, this is a really bad hand actually. 4 energies in our hands. We'll have to discard 3 energies at the very least with our Sycamore, unless we find an N with Gible. And on top of that, we have to discard an energy recycler. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Well, at least we have an Ultra Ball, so we can Ultra Ball for a Togepi. I'm going to have to discard the Raikou and the Rough Seas. Yeah, that's going to have to be it. We need to keep the Togetic for the next turn. So we'll grab a Togepi if we can. There we go. We'll grab a Togepi and we will bench the Togepi. In the next turn, I'm going to Super Rod back. Maybe I will do it right now because my opponent might end us. I will Super Rod back an energy, 2 energies and a Raikou. And we will pass our turn right here. In the next turn, we are going to evolve into Togetic and then try to find our Togekiss. We have 1 more Ultra Ball or 2 more Ultra Balls. 2 more Ultra Balls to find our Togekiss. And hopefully power up our Raikou for a knockout on this Gible if my opponent doesn't attach a Fighting Fury Belt. Focus Sash, that's what I meant to say. That's the only thing that scares me at the moment, if my opponent finds a Focus Sash. We don't want to see a Focus Sash because then he can definitely one-hit KO us with a Garchomp. A strong energy on the Gible already, so now the Garchomp is hitting for a definite knockout for sure, even if we attach a Fighting Fury Belt. It doesn't matter if we do that or not. And another Gible right there with an Ultra Ball. Discarded 2 energies. My opponents can always get back those energies with something like the Turbo Assault from the Garchomp. A Corina for a Garchomp and a Rare Candy, so no Focus Sash, which is fantastic. I think my opponent doesn't know we can power up our Raikou in our first turn. We might actually surprise our opponent there, but then he can still power up this other Gible. We get another energy. I will probably attach this. Yes, so we only need to find 1 energy from the Togekiss if we can find a Togekiss. And we do find a Togekiss, fantastic. We do find a Togekiss. Let's evolve into the Togekiss. Try to find another energy. I'm not going to attach any more energies even if I found them, but I did not. I only found 1 energy. And then we will attach a Fighting Fury Belt. Look for another Togepi here with our level ball. We have 2 more Togekiss as well, and another 2 more Togetic and another Togekiss. I saw that from that level ball. And then we will Shaymin, try to find another Raikou. If this Raikou goes down in the next turn, we need a backup attacker. There's some Togetics. What can we get from the Trainer's Mail? An N. I will get out the N. And then it's time to attack here. Hit for 110 damage with the Thunder Lance for a knockout on this Gible. What can we get from the prizes? Can we find a Raikou from the prizes? It's another Togepi. That's not what we needed. That is not what we needed. We needed a Raikou. We needed a Raikou or a Lugia. The Lugia is much better actually. We want to find the Lugia if we can. We know my opponents can find the Garchomp and the Rare Candy. We know he plays that. Even though we end my opponents, we know we can get them out. What was that? Was that a Gabite? It was a Gabite. So we won't see the Garchomp this turn, and an energy will get hit for 40 damage from the Sand Tomb. Times 2 is 80 damage. We stay alive. Even if my opponent starting Megaphones away our Fighting Fury Belt, we will stay alive. Sand Tomb. And we will get the knockout. We will get the knockout on the Gabite. This is amazing. No Focus Sash from my opponent. Let's evolve into the Togetic. And then let's attach an energy to one of our Togekiss just so we can retreat them. And then I think I'll go for another N here. Yes, I'm going to go for another N. Shuffle an energy back into my deck and a Togepi as well as a Togekiss. A Super Rod and a Level Ball. Well, do I want to get anything out with this Level Ball? I might just get out another Togepi just to thin out my deck a little bit. And then we'll hit for the knockout on this Gabite here with our Thunder Lance for 120 damage. Now in the next turn my opponent cannot do anything against us unless my opponent finds a Lucario. Lucario could hit us for 60 damage. Possibly 80 damage with a strong energy. No, wait, and it's 100 damage. That is a knockout if my opponent hits for 100 damage with the Lucario. But we see just the Gible and a strong energy. Listener on my Shaymin. Luckily we have this energy to retreat our Shaymin here. And a Devolution Spray as well. Fantastic. Do we have a Listener of our own in the discard pile? We do not. Kinda want to Listener that Gible there. But alas, we cannot do that. Devolution Spray is not useful either. Super Odds, I could Super Odds, shuffle back 2 energies. But I won't do it for now. What I will do is I will go for another N here. Maybe I should bench this Togepi. I'm not sure. No, I won't bench Togepi. I will leave it in my deck. It's a slight annoyance that we cannot discard it at the moment. A Togekiss and 2 Trainer's Mail. Alright, can we find an Ultra Ball from one of these Trainer's Mail? A Fighting Fury Belt, not what we needed to see. Well, I might as well get it out here. Can we maybe find the Ultra Ball from this Trainer's Mail? Teammates, yes, Teammates is fantastic. If this Raikou goes down in the next turn, we can Teammates for a Raikou and maybe a Super Odds. And then we can evolve into our Togekiss. Yes, we have an excellent hand for our next turn actually. This is a very, very good hand for our next turn. I'm very happy with this hand. Let's just hope we don't get end here. Let's just hope we don't get end. We have our Rough Seas. I think it's a little bit too late, because I think the Raikou will go down. If my opponent can find that rare candy for the Garchomp. If my opponent can find that rare candy. He might not be able to. He needs Corina to do so. Only used 1 Corina so far. I think my opponent plays like 3 Corina and 4 VS Seeker, so he definitely has the possibility to find the rare candy. Does he pull it off though? Does he have the hand to do it? Did we end my opponent? We did end my opponent. Did we end him into a terrible hand, or did we end him into a good hand? That's the question. VS Seeker for the Corina. He did have the VS Seeker. He is going to Corina for a rare candy and a Garchomp. Unless he has the rare candy in hand, then he might get a Focus Sash. No, it is just a rare candy, no Focus Sash. I'm quite surprised we haven't seen any Focus Sash yet. It's definitely not over, because my opponents can very easily knock us out here all the time with his Garchomps. We actually need 4 energies on our Raikou if we want to knock out his Garchomp in the next turn, and we definitely want to do that. We definitely want to do that, and energy on the Gible, so now my opponent can get out another Garchomp. And he has more Garchomps in his deck, that's for sure. Alright, it's time to Teammates here. Ooh, a Devolution Spray. What a top deck that was. We'll grab a Raikou, maybe not, we'll grab a Lugia. Maybe not, we'll grab a Raikou. We need to one-hit KO this Garchomp. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe that. Did I just forget to get out? I just forget to get out the Energy Recycler. I cannot believe that just happened. Well, that might cost me the game here. Let's fight the Fury Belt Raikou. Let's evolve into our Togekiss. I cannot believe that just happened. 2 energies, that is not enough. We need more energies. Wow. What just happened there? Let's devolve the Togekiss in the active spot. Man, I forgot to get my Super Odds. Well, this is going to be decisive here. No energies from this Togekiss. Are you kidding me? No energies from the Togekiss. Rough Seas. And that's it. We will have to leave the Togekiss in the active spot. Hope that my opponent doesn't KO it here. It should be fine for now. We'll end our turn. In the next turn, we will Sycamore. I cannot believe that just happens. That is just terrible. That is really, really terrible. Startling Megaphone discards our Fighting Fury Belt. Wow. I clicked done. And I have no idea why I did that. I actually have no idea. Gamite. I think we just missed out on taking the game here because my opponent didn't have a Garchomp. Max Potion in a discard pile. And an N as well as a strong energy. Can he find some more Garchomps, some more Gibbles? He needs to shuffle back some Gibbles actually. And a Bito for 100 damage. We do stay alive, so we actually get a chance at powering up our Raikou here. If we find another the devolution spray. We don't find it. We do find the energy recycler, so it's time to use our energy recycler. Shuffle back all of those energies into our deck. And then maybe grab a Shaymin. I think I'm going to discard the Jolteon and the Ampharos and look for my Shaymin here. Yes, we do have another devolution spray. Let's just hope we can get it from these 3 cards. I might have to Super Rod, discard my Super Rod as well. That's my last option to shuffle back energies. Do I want to discard my Super Rod? Do I want to risk that? Maybe not. Let's just Shaymin here. Shaymin for 3 more cards. An energy and a Togepi. Well, I have to attach this energy to my Lugia. Hope my opponent doesn't have a listener for our Raikou, and we will have to pass our turn here. Let this Togekiss get knocked out. As unfortunate as that is. In the next turn I'm going to Sycamore. Can we still take this game after that terrible turn there where we missed out? Ooh, and a Sycamore from our opponent, discarding a ton of cards there. Fighting Fury Belt for the Hawlucha probably. 7 energies in the discard pile from my opponent. I think my opponent has all his energies in play here. A level ball for a Hawlucha. My opponent cannot grab a Gible. We haven't seen a Super Rod yet. Nope, no Hawlucha, and my opponent is out of Hawlucha. Only plays 1 Hawlucha. What else does he play? Does he play Lucario? There it is, the Bite Off for the knockouts. Alright then, we will promote our Raikou. It is now or never. Can we find our... Oh, an energy, that's fantastic. Can we find our devolution spray? I'm going to shuffle back this energy, a Raikou and probably the Togekiss. Then I'm going to bench this Togepi and Sycamore my hand away. Or I could teammates. Which guarantees me the devolution spray. I will teammates, I will guarantee myself the devolution spray. And I'm also going to grab the Togetic for the next turn. Let's just hope we can find a VS Seeker from the top deck then, or maybe a supporter from the prizes. Alright, this should be sufficient for now. We'll devolve the Togekiss, and we should be able to find 1 energy there. We saw we have 6 energies in our deck, so we should be able to find at least 1. Hopefully 3, so we can power up our Lugia. Hopefully 3 here, and we do find 3 energies. We will grab all of those energies, put 1 energy onto the Raikou, and then 2 energies on our Lugia. That's fantastic, that's just fabulous. So we do still have a chance at taking this game. Then we'll Thunderlance for 130 damage. Take another prize. All we need to do now is deal with that Gabite. That's all we need to do. A Sycamore. Yes, we did find a draw supporter, so we can find our last Togekiss and maybe power up another Raikou. Corina from our opponents is going to look for the Super Rod. I think try to Super Rod, and then he can level ball for another Gible. Sacred Ash, never mind, it's a Sacred Ash, not a Super Rod. Does he have some more level balls? He's used 2 and a Ultra Ball, so he probably has some Pokemon Search cards in his hand to get out another Gible for the next turn. If he fails to do so, we actually have a decent chance. We hit for 60 damage with our Lugia. With a Fighting Fury Belt at 70, that's a 2-hit knockout. Do we have any more Fighting Fury Belts? We should have 1 more Fighting Fury Belt somewhere. There's Bite Off for the knockout. So he doesn't actually bench any backup Pokemon. That is pretty bad from our opponent there. We'll promote our Lugia. The Lugia should stay alive against this Garchomp. A Lysander. Let's evolve into our Togekiss. Then let's Sycamore our entire hand away. Oh no, I should have benched the Raikou. I think I have another Raikou though. Yes, I have another Raikou. We get an energy. A Fighting Fury Belt, fantastic. And let's put this energy on the Raikou. Then let's Fighting Fury Belt the Lugia. Yes, we are going to Fighting Fury Belt the Lugia. And we will hit for the Intensifying Burn. I can't play my Togekiss because then I will deck myself out too early. So 70 damage here with the Lugia in the next turn. That's a knockout on this Garchomp, and we take the game. We should have taken the game long ago. If I hadn't done something stupid with my teammates. A Korrina for a Gible, so we won't take the game. We'll see another Gible come out. And then we might see another Garchomp as well. I might just end in the next turn, to be honest. I might just end myself. I think that's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to end, bring down my opponent's hand, make sure he cannot get out another Garchomp. And hopefully that will do for us to close out this game. Hopefully that will be enough. Because we went through all of our resources here trying to deal with my opponent's Garchomp deck. A bite off, we stay alive, we get hit for 60, we actually stay alive. Even after the next turn, if my opponent gets out a Garchomp, because he can hit for 60 at most, I think. Well, 80 if he finds another strong energy, so he needs to find a startling Megaphone and discards our Fighting Fury Belt. We will attach this energy to our Raikou, and then we will end. There it is, there is the end for the game. I think this is going to be end for the game. Yes, we know we will only draw 2 cards. Maybe we can find our Togekiss. No, we just get the energy for the next turn. Oh my goodness, what a close game this was. Intensifying Burn for the knockout on the Garchomp. 70 damage. And what can we get from the prizes? A Sycamore. Not that we need it, not that we need it right now. All we really need is a card to shuffle back energies. But we've used all of them. We've used our 2 energy recyclers and we've used our 2 Super Worlds. There's a Korrina, one more Korrina for the rare candy and for the Garchomp. Does my opponent have any more energies though? 11 energies in the discard pile. I don't think he has any more energies. I don't think he will be able to attach any more energies. He did get that Korrina from the end, so that is actually pretty lucky for my opponent that he did get that Korrina. Turbo Assault, we stay alive. Is there any point in retreating into the Raikou? There is not, because we cannot one-hit KO this Garchomp. We could find a Listener. Nope, we do not. We do not find our last VN Seeker for a Listener on the Gible. That is slightly unfortunate, so let's attach this energy to our Raikou. Maybe I should not have done that, because now my opponent can Listener out one of our Pokemon and deck us out. He can actually Listener out one of our Pokemon and deck us out. That was a mistake. That was definitely a mistake. Let's just hope we don't see a Listener on our Shaymin or something like that. My goodness, a Fighting Stadium. Can he evolve into the Garchomp? That will also allow him to take the game, because we cannot one-hit KO the Garchomp. He has actually several outs here. We can actually lose this game by taking out if my opponent retreats into a Garchomp. Does he have what it takes? He has more rare candies, we know that. He has more rare candies, he has more Garchomps, he has more VS Seekers. Question is, does he have them in his hands? There's Gabite, so no Garchomp. This is it. This is game. My opponent, even if he retreats, will lose the game. Well, not yet, because we can still see the Listener. I am cheering too early on here. And an N. There's no Listener there. We get End. Fantastic. We get End into the Togekiss, which I don't think is any use for us. No, our last energy is prized. Our last energy is prized. Wow. I cannot believe how close this was. This was such a close game, and it's all my own fault. It's all my own fault, because I forgot to get out that's... what did I forget to get out, actually? I forgot to get out the Devolution Spray, I believe. 40 more damage on our Lugia. Our Lugia stays alive once again. And an energy on that Gabite. We will take the game here. No need to do anything else. We'll knock out this Garchomp and deal with this Garchomp deck for good. We don't want to see any more Garchomp decks. Jesus Christ, this was a game for the books. This was fabulous. Togepiss, Togetic, no, Togekiss, oh my goodness. Togekiss takes the win against Garchomp together with Raikou. A fighting weak deck wins from a fighting deck. 890 damage dealt versus 720 for my opponent. Raikou MVP versus Garchomp. I'm going to take a small break here. I'm going to take a small break and go for a run, and then I'll be right back at it with the last 3 opponents of the day.
Karp, Karp, Karp. Karp.